West 6, and we think one of the most prestigious college hoop events in Canada. Of course, the Naismith Classic here at Waterloo. And we take a look at the Warriors, Wes. Really, in the history of this tournament, they've always had a contending team. Might be a different story this time around.
They're very young, and they'll play the game straight up early in the season. They like to go with the fine freshman Van Koughnett, but Jason Poag at the point guard is the key. He's got to set the table, be the leader today. And of course, the Bishop Gators, on the other hand, show a lot of patience in their half-court game. Love to go to the all-star Pierre Teblin, who's their leading scorer. Defensively, they like to play zones.
Well, the Warriors, as you mentioned, a young team. Let's introduce to you their starting five for this afternoon's contest.
And Jason Poag, the point guard, he's the creator, will set the table and distribute the ball inside to the people on the blocks. And the other off guard, Mike Duarte, he's averaging 14 points a game. He likes to show his perimeter personality. Chris Moore, the strong side forward, he's a great competitor, likes to go to the glass. And the wide body, the bell ringer, Dave Rosebush inside, will play downtown on the blocks and score well off the glass. And of course, there's the freshman. I think the impact player. He's scoring, he's leading the team in scoring this year, 22 points a game.
The Bishop Gators, much like the Waterloo Warriors, in the midst of a rebuilding program, but perhaps not to the same extent. Head coach Eddie Palmacala returns with a solid core of veterans that were 15-3 in conference play last year and 19-9 overall. Let's introduce to you the starting five. Number 12 is Tim Johnston, 6'4", 175 pounds, a sophomore from Rossay, New Brunswick. Firmly entrenched in the guard position. 23, Mark McCauley, 6'1", 180 pounds from Pierrefonds, Quebec. Outstanding perimeter player. Number 22, Pierre Teblin, 6'3", 210 pounds. An OUAA All-Star last year, 21 points per game. 32 is Jeff Harris, 6'3", 205 pounds from Pierrefonds as well. A free throw shooter. And number 33, David Fisher, 6'8", 200 pounds. Their post player, a banger on the boards with some precision from inside as well. So the Bishop Gators and the home court Waterloo Warriors will be back with the opening tip-off in just a moment.
Trapped in the mysterious world of electronics, TVs, VCRs, audio systems? See your way through the maze of double talk and high prices to Casper's Stereo Warehouse, where good value makes good sense. This Christmas, stuff a stocking with bargains like this double cassette deck. High-speed dubbing, only $77.77. Or a dynamite car stereo with auto reverse and 10 presets. Now an incredible $88.88. Quality at the lowest prices in town. Believe it. Casper's Stereo Warehouse, 1221 Stone Church at Nebo Road.
I'm Cy Sperling, president of Hair Club for Men. These men called Hair Club's toll-free number, requesting our informative booklet about thinning hair.
From start to finish, Lens Crafters. Eyeglasses of exceptional quality, custom crafted in about an hour.
The purple uniforms looks much like a Western Mustang Waterloo Warrior game, but the Gators from Lennoxville, Quebec, 19 wins, 9 losses in 1989-1990 season, but of course the team out of that conference, the Concordia Stingers. And it's no rumor, the fact of the matter is the Concordia Stingers could very well win the CIAU championship for the second year in succession. They've got a long haul in their own conference, the Gators do, Wes.
Well, I'd pick Concordia #1 in the nation, and probably Vic would have to be their UBC.
A pair of Daves will tip it off. Fisher versus Rosebush, and both from Toronto. The Waterloo Warriors win it opening. Here we go inside. Waterloo Warriors in the gold and white uniforms. Pass inside for Poag. Poag off the glass for 2, and Waterloo in front, 2-0.
Great floor balance to start the basketball game, and of course that young freshman, Van Koughnett, he can score from the perimeter, but he can distribute the ball very well inside.
Tim Johnston from the perimeter. Gators in motion. Back outside, Pierre Teblin to McCauley.
Straight man-to-man for the Warriors.
Duarte on him defensively. Outside to Fisher. Had thoughts of bailing inside the key, but elected to go back out. Good defensive play by Waterloo. Mike Duarte in on the coverage. Second year St. Thomas More graduate from Hamilton.
Some great matchups here. The young freshman Van Koughnett for the Warriors is taking Pierre Teblin, the all-star, the swingman, the person that loves to score from the perimeter. Great matchup.
Collision outside. David Fisher from West Humber Collegiate in Toronto, sophomore here with the Gators.
Palm the ball and picking it up. The Gators would have to get a little bit of better floor balance, get some high post, low post exchange early in the basketball game.
Sean Van Koughnett will inbound the ball here for Waterloo. Jason Poag, a hero a year ago, when his basket in the final 4 seconds defeated Manitoba, a Naismith quarterfinal game, and what a terrific contest that was.
He has to change his role this year. He has to take the leadership, the point guard. He has to set the table. He can score. That's a secondary role this year, Paul, the scoring, but he must start the offense.
Referee Stephen Foxcroft dwarfed by David Fisher. Fisher 6 feet 8 inches tall, 200 pounds. Nice pass to Duarte, back door, and he hits for 2.
A nice screen set at the high post that got Mike Duarte to the back door on an easy deuce off the glass.
Near capacity crowd here in the Physical Activities Complex, which is typical for Waterloo basketball games. One of the premier facilities in Canada.
Great place to play a game of basketball. Great place to coach as well as do a TV broadcast.
Fisher stumbles over Rosebush going inside, and the Bishop Gators have called a timeout. They trail 4-0. A minute and a half having transpired here in the opening half of play, and there it is.
They're out of sync. They have to define their roles early in the basketball game.
The Waterloo Warriors leading the Bishop Gators by 4. You're watching our University Basketball Game of the Week.
We quit smoking.
David, I think it's more like 6'5", maybe.
Duarte from the perimeter. Poag races inside. Duarte will keep himself in through traffic, and he was clobbered as he went up for the basket. Offensive charge assessed to Duarte.
Mike Duarte's playing a different role. He's playing the off guard. He's got to score from the perimeter and do a little of the 3Ds, and that's to drive and draw the defense and dish off. He has to find his role from the off guard.
Mark McCauley, the point guard, quarterback of this Bishop Gator offense. 6'1", 180 pounds, bounces that one inside to Tiblin. Tiblin tries to go up for the Gators' first basket, puts it off the rim, and back comes Van Koughnett here for Waterloo.
Van Koughnett played for the provincial team at a guard spot, so he can play a guard. He likes the perimeter personality and can feed inside, which he did to Dave Rosebush. Now, Rosebush is a banger. He likes to play on the blocks.
There's Mark McCauley, number 23 for the Bishop's Gators. Third-year player from Pierrefonds, Quebec. Gators moving the ball inside. Tim Johnson puts it up and off for 2, and the Gators are on the board, but it took 2.5 minutes to do so. 4-2 in a defensive ball game today.
They'll show a lot of patience in their half-court game. They're a disciplined team. They won't rush their offense. They'll take their time and try to get the high percentage shot. But that's Rosebush on the blocks. He gets the ball inside. He makes one half pivot and puts it off the glass, gets fouled, and will go to the charity stripe.
For the potential three-point play, makes the score 6-2 for Waterloo. Dave Rosebush, 6'8", 220 pounds, third year, and a kinesiology major, hails from Toronto. Did not play with the Waterloo Warriors last year, took a season off.
Took a year off, but at 6'9", 6'8", he's a banger inside. He can control the glass just as long as he gets his man on his hip, pins his man, and then he's got the back door.
Completes the three-point play. Makes it a 7-2 ball game, Waterloo.
A little bit of a man-to-man press, show-me press, just to find out how the Gators will break it. No real traps, just pressure on the basketball.
Tim Johnston watched defensively there by Poag. Johnson weaves one way, goes the other.
And the Warriors will have to play well in defensive transition, getting back on defense, not letting the Gators get any quick baskets in transition.
Johnson from Rothsay, New Brunswick. One of 2 players on the Skater team from the province of New Brunswick. Watched defensively extremely well by Jason Poag. They turned it over. Poag now with the basketball here for Waterloo.
Coach McRae will play 9 players, but when he goes to the bench to the support players, they'll get a different look.
Sean Van Koughnett drives inside on a veteran, and Tiblin makes the shot. Off the rim, the rebound to Rosebush. Big bang and going underneath on the boards, and the Gators come down with it.
You're right, a lot of pushing and shoving under the glass, but the officials are letting them play.
Tiblin, who likes to play the swing position, he'll alternate from guard to forward, back inside. Johnston in traffic to Tiblin. Great job defensively here by Waterloo to isolate Pierre Tiblin. Potential All-Canadian candidate, 1991.
Dave Fisher with the ball now. Must get more involved in the offense at the post position.
Basket for Jeff Harris. 7-4 Waterloo.
5th-year player. Jeff Harris is a nice shooter inside in the mid-post position, but he's their best foul shooter at 84%.
From the perimeter, could be a three-point shot. Van Koughnett hits.
It's only a 2, but that's his perimeter personality. At 6'5", he can go inside, but he likes to go to the outside, and he's the second leading three-point shooter on this Warrior team.
You've got to appreciate that when the roster size has you up over 6'5". Much like a Tim Mao kind of performer. Precision from the perimeter as well. He's able to do it inside. Rebound comes down to Chris Moore. Moore, the outstanding prospect from Barrie, who really made an impact in the OUAA last year as a freshman.
Well, he can bang inside. He likes to play on the blocks.
Jason Poag from the baseline. Rebound comes back down to Tim Johnston.
Warriors have to be careful that it's not one and done. They must get second opportunity shots, stick back points to be in this basketball game.
Got to give him credit. Wesley have worked the inside well, kept Bishops honest. Here's Pierre Tiblin, and Tiblin hits nothing but mesh. 9-6.
Talk about keeping a player honest. You've got to come up on him. You can't give him the J from outside. You have to force him and make him drive on you.
Van Koughnett has time and hits, and that's 3.
And that's the first trifecta of the year. Great touch. Good follow through on that young man, Sean Van Koughnett.
The Warriors in control. 14 minutes, 48 seconds to play here in the first half. Quarterfinal game in the Naismith Classic. Rejection on Tiblin. The Gators hope to get this crowd out of the game. They haven't been able to do so. Waterloo's come up fired up.
David Rosebush came from the weak side and got his first block here in the Naismith this year. And now Coach McRae has gone to his bench, and we'll just find out if it changes the personality of the Warriors here. They're taking the freshman out.
Cam Thomas comes into the game, another freshman, number 33, and John Hamilton in just his second year. Talking with head coach Don McRae prior to the contest, saying this is his youngest team in the past 10 years. Youngest
team might be his most talented as far as the rookies are concerned when you have Cam Thomas and Sean Van Koughnett.
12-6. Waterloo with the basketball. They hold the lead as well. Jason Poag across midcourt. Ward drives inside, may keep himself and does, and gets the hoop.
And he went against Tiblin. But that's what Ward must do. He must keep the defense honest and drive from the off-guard position.
Tim Johnston, coast to coast inside to Tiblin. Tiblin from behind. In traffic, and Waterloo getting it done on Tiblin, but he's going to go to the line to shoot 2. Foul on John Hamilton.
The Gators' offense is a little tentative. They have to get a little bit more motion and flow to their half-court game. A little bit of better concentration off the glass. Must make those easy deuces inside.
John Hamilton, second year, played his high school ball at Waterloo Bluevale, but no shortage of Bluevale products on this Warrior roster this season, Wes.
John Hamilton in a supportive role off the bench, the role aid players giving great relief. This year, he's averaging 6 points a game and only in his second year. I think he's a real banger at 6'4".
Pierre Tiblin, 4 points so far in this game, averaged 20.5 points per contest. En route to a first-team OUAA East and Central All-Star berth last season.
But Jason Poag has to be careful here. He can't get caught off down on the side in the point position.
Chris Moore from the perimeter. That would have been 3 points. Good rebound here by Hamilton. Battles inside, draws the foul. He'll go to the line.
Shot selection is very important for the Waterloo Warriors. They've got a lead. They've got control. That's a little outside of Moore's range. He's got to make sure that shot selection is important.
13 minutes, 53 seconds to play here in the opening half as Tim Johnston goes to the bench to get a well-deserved breather. John Hamilton, meanwhile, at the line.
We certainly won't see an end-to-end classic. We won't see a lot of break points and in transition. Both teams are trying to find themselves, Bo. They want to find out what they'll do best, so they'll try a few things offensively, but more or less in a half-court game.
Moments ago, a look at Rob Baird. He'll replace Jason Poag, who heads to the bench as well. So both coaches starting to substitute now. It's been a physical game today.
Talking to Coach McRae before the game, he'll try a lot of things offensively and defensively just to find out if his team can do it and what is the personality of his club.
Hamilton hits 1 of 2, makes it a 15-8 contest. Back come the Gators and Mark McCauley. Van Koughnett watching him ever so closely. McCauley back out to the perimeter. It's Ted Branch. to Tiblin. Tiblin hits. Ball comes under the cylinder. Aggressive rebounding on the offensive glass by Chris Moore.
Cam Thomas has to come up on Tiblin a little tougher. You can't let that all-star get on track. He's a streak shooter.
Chris Moore, 6'6", 200 pounds. Appears to be a little heavier this season, Wes.
He does.
Been in the weight room, as has Jason Poag, much stockier.
But that's the young man I think is the key to the Warriors early. Jason Poag, he must take the leadership from the point guard.
Hamilton guns, but it is McCauley back down with the offensive read. Here come the Gators. Works his way inside, goes coast to coast off the glass, gets the hoop, and will go to the line to convert for three.
Defensive transition is important. You must get back. Take the passing lanes away, but you must take the dribbling lanes away too. Here he goes and cuts through and slices, and the defensive man is way behind. Defensive transition early in the basketball game.
Head coach Ed Pamikala going to substitute now into the game here for the Gators will be David McBride, freshman from Pinecourt, Quebec. Member of the Quebec provincial team the past 2 summers, so still no shortage with this Bishops team. But again, can they upset Concordia, and can anybody beat Concordia this year really on a consistent basis? Second opportunity after the foul. Throw converts. Ted Branch comes into this game and hits for 2.
Stick-back points are important, but you talk about personality of a team. This Warrior team, they've lost Troyak and Zinchuk and Braley. That's a lot of players to lose all at one time.
And John Dillaway as well, another veteran. Scores 15-12, 12 minutes, 47 seconds to play in the first half. Good luck there at Jeff Harris. The Warriors with the lead. Both teams now starting to substitute. Bruce VanLoon into this contest here for Waterloo.
You know, Paul, when I coach at the university level for McMaster, it's a funny thing. When you get a young team and an aggressive team, it sort of recharges you as your batteries as a coach, because you really get involved back into the teaching the fundamentals and back in and just find out what type of team you have.
Well, brings an interesting case in point, and this could, in all reality, be head coach Don McRae's final year as a head coach. It is his 20th season. There is talk that they are grooming Tom Keyswater, now an assistant with the team, to take over next season. That can't be confirmed, but Don McRae very busy. He's the athletic coordinator on the Waterloo campus, and after 20 years and a CIAU championship in '74, might be time to perhaps move on.
He's still a young man like all of us. He'll be around.
Mike Duarte off the glass, hits his third field goal at 6 points.
Again, the Bishop Gators now, we talk about defensive transition. They must get back and stop the easy points in transition.
12 minutes, 6 seconds, the clock ticking down here in the first half. 17-12 Waterloo. The Gators outside.
But the Gators have really been outplayed totally, but they're hanging around on the scoreboard. They're hanging around, and there they get the second opportunity points. That'll drive a coach nuts, and Coach McRae can't be happy at that. You have to box out. Keep the guys off the glass.
Ted Branch with his 4th point of this ball game. Interesting, he came off the bench for Bishops last year and twice went into double figures coming off the bench, and is in line to do that here this afternoon. His 4th point makes it 17-14 Waterloo.
Well, he's a great perimeter shooter, but he's getting it done off the glass.
You know, I say 2 times. He came off the bench on 7 occasions.
I think Coach McRae's got to get a timeout here. He's got to talk things over with his young team.
Well, a timeout has in fact been called. 11 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the opening half. Waterloo leads it by 3. You're watching our university basketball game of the week.
The clean sweep line.
Gators, so far so good if you're a hometown fan. Waterloo leading 17-14.
But they haven't put him away, and that's another sign of a young team. We have 2 games being played here for the Warriors. When Dave Rosebush is in, we're going to get the inside game and the power game. When he's out of there, they'll go to the perimeter a little bit more. That's when the young freshman Van Koughnett comes outside, and of course Moore can come outside too. So I think they do change their personality a little bit when Dave Rosebush, the banger's out of there.
Head coach Don McRae, assistants Tom Schneider, Mike Kilpatrick, and Tom Keyswater.
And I think on the other side, the Gators have to spread their offense a little bit, have a little bit more patience, and make sure that they get their all-star Tiblin involved in the offense. And of course, Jeff Harris, the 5th-year player.
Well, whenever Don McRae does decide to hang up the coaching shingle for good, I think that checker jacket and that famous CIAU championship picture has to be put in a museum somewhere. From the perimeter, Van Koughnett. Baseline shot caught the back of the rim, went out of bounds, and it is going to be Waterloo possession.
Well, Coach McCrae's coached all facets of this game. Of course, he was the coach for our national women's program for years.
Well, we can date yourself, Wes, and he, in fact, was a player for you at one time.
Played for me, and then I coached against him right here in this building. We had some great matchups.
Tough player to coach against, I'm sure.
I thought I had him beat one year in the semifinals, but he beat me by a point. It's tough to win in this building, let me tell you. It's great to do a game on TV, but it's tough to coach in this building.
Well, the McMaster Marauders, I don't believe they haven't won in this building, and I forget what it is, but going back to 1973, and every year you think, well, this could be their year. And you've got to believe with the team that Mac has in 1991 compared to what Waterloo has, that that streak could come to an end sometime in January.
Well, Coach McCrae played at Mac for the 1 year, and you talk about a banger. He was a tough, aggressive player inside.
Pierre Tiblin, 6 points on the game, 2 from the field, 2 from the free throw line, 17-16. The Gators slowly chipping away, and they're back within one.
Tiblin wants to be around at prime time. He wants to keep it close here. And they've taken the crowd out of this basketball game a little bit.
Harris with the steal, sets it up offensively here for Bishops. Mark McCauley across midcourt.
McCauley gives him direction and focus from the point guard. But he has to be careful. He's not dribbling too much and gets the open player inside.
Pass inside, up and off the glass. Foul. Jeff Harris should go to the line to shoot 2. Foul on Dave Rosebush. Harrison is 5th year from Pierre Font, Quebec. Economics major. And as you mentioned last, Wes, he was 84% from the free throw line last year for Bishops, and that was tops on the team. So you've got to expect him to make both these.
Very consistent performer. Very tough and aggressive underneath. 53% from the floor and 84% from the line.
Impressive statistics, and he hits for the 2. That'll tie the ball game up at 17.
This isn't one of your greatest offensive performance so far, only scoring 17 points in 10 minutes. But again, they're both young teams trying to find the right chemistry, trying to find out who they are in the game of basketball.
It's taken 9 minutes and 49 seconds, but the Bishop Gators are in the lead. They lead by 1, 18-17. Taking the momentum away here from Waterloo. Ward goes one way back out to Poag. Far side. Poag him tight defensively. Watched well by Tom Van Alstyne. There's the shot off the rim. Back comes a rebound to Tiblin.
Great defensive trip for the Gators.
Tiblin scored 42 points in a game versus Ottawa last year. An amazing feat, but when you take a look at what Ottawa had defensively, maybe perhaps not so. Not to take anything away against Pierre Tiblin, but we had a chance to see Pierre, the Ottawa GGs, and you talk about a run and gun and offense, but defense, none, of course. That's a three-pointer off the front of the rim.
Tiblin must be careful. He must get other people involved in the offense. One player does not make a team.
Van Koughnett, rebound came back out to Duarte. Poag slows down the momentum here of this offensive attempt.
That's the key, the leadership. Slow it down till you get people in the right positions.
Chris Moore for 2. 19-18, Waterloo. Chris Moore's first field goal of this game gives the home side the lead.
And he's averaging 10 points a game so far. See, Tiblin's out here at the point guard now, trying to run the show and trying to score as well.
Provides head coach Eddie Pomacalo with an added bonus. Plays tough inside, of course, but plays the swing position extremely well and is able to play point guard. Assisting Mark McCauley. Van Koughnett. Moore inside for Rosebush. Saved by the Gators. Back down to Tiblin. He should have a free one. Duarte in there defensively. Attempt in vain. Tim Wood gets another pair.
Now, if the Gators get untracked and get their fast break game in sync, the Warriors must be extremely careful.
Tiblin 8 points in this contest. That is game high all around for both these teams. 7 minutes, 49 seconds to play in the opening half. Mark McCauley back on for Bishops. And a substitute as well for Waterloo as Cam Thomas steps into this contest for the second time.
Tiblin has 2,053 career points. He can break the school record of 2,500 in his career.
Inside, broken up. Foul assessed to David Fisher, the postman for the Bishop's Gators from West Humber Collegiate in Toronto.
Cam Thomas trying to post up at the mid-post position. He must come and meet the ball.
So a bit of a sluggish first half of play. Hometown fans aren't complaining. They lead 19-18. Gators substitute again coming back onto the court is Scott Ride. 6'5", 205 pounds, a second-year player from Beaconsfield, Quebec, and an offensive board specialist.
Warriors have showed a little bit more quickness from the perimeter than the Gators.
Poag. Moore works the pick outside to Hamilton. Moore, baseline jump shot, hits for 2 more. He has 4 in this first half. Makes it a 21-20 contest.
And that's the flexibility with the forwards for the Warriors. In Van Koughnett and Moore, they can play inside high post, or they can come to the perimeter, both of them, and feel very comfortable. They need a little pace at times to score.
Van Alstyne to Tiblin. The give and go, they work it inside. Back to Van Alstyne, trying to find some opening. Just an indication of how well Waterloo's playing defensively, and especially that young man, Jason Poag.
That's the leadership they need. The break wasn't there, so he backed it up, and now he's make sure that everybody's in the right spot.
Drives inside, lost the basketball. There's a collision. And some crunching going on in that Key West. Who's got it?
A lot of banging going on in the colors. The Warriors are showing a lot of aggressiveness and hustle, and Coach McCray loves that from a team. I thought last year's team at times lacked that a little bit, but so far, there's Coach McCray. He's into the basketball game. Although he looks a little passive on the bench, you know, inside, he's churning.
Never judge a book by its cover. Little paint shipping going on here at the Physical Activities Complex. University of Waterloo. Tiblin wheels, deals inside. Fisher off the glass for 2. An impressive 2 points in traffic.
Nice high-low dump down. Get the ball to the high post, Tiblin. Dump it down inside and get the easy deuce off the glass. High-low dump down.
At 6'8", 200 pounds, head coach Eddie Pomacala feels that Fisher could become the premier big man in Bishop Gator basketball history. Chris Moore from the perimeter. Puts it in off the rim. Got a crier.
And they've had a lot of great post players from Toronto, and that's where Dave Fisher's from.
23-22 Waterloo. 5 minutes, 47 seconds to play, approaching halftime.
The skip passes now, just trying to spread the defense a little bit.
We invite you to stick around for our halftime show. As is the case every year during this time, we'll profile teams around the OUAA. Van Alstyne off the glass. Collides, and up at halftime, we'll be profiling the McMaster Marauders under the guidance of head coach Barry Phillips. Cam Thomas, number 33, 6'6", 200 pounds, and he in the midst of this as well.
Well, it should be a great year. I think probably the 2 top teams in the West this year, probably Brock University and the Guelph Griffins.
You better mention Guelph first.
Well, Guelph, of course, are the champions. They have to prove it. It's tougher the second time around. But they do have a quality team. Very well coached by Coach Darling.
The other 2 teams to contend in the OUAA West, of course, would have to be Western. They minus Kyle Risdale.
That's the key.
The big man inside.
Tough to fill the hole in the donut for Western Mustangs this year. They're going to lack that true post player.
And the other team, of course, the McMaster Marauders, as we mentioned, who will be profiling. Coming up at halftime, so please stick around. 23-22. Waterloo with the basketball. Cam Baird up 3 rows into the stands to save it for Waterloo, and he's got the ball at midcourt.
Cam Baird going up in the stands selling a few programs. He's got a lot of hustle and desire, and he's the second support player at the point guard position. Great outside shooter. Coached his dad at McMaster University. That's going back a few years. His dad was a great shooter.
Well, you're older than you look, Wes. There's John Hamilton for 2. Baseline perimeter shot. Hamilton with 3 points in this game. His first from the field, however.
Just as long as I don't get to a point where I see the grandchildren on the floor.
Tim Johnston, his pass inside for Tiblin. Tiblin gets out, and it's Johnston once again. Ian Mark McCauley from the perimeter. McCauley looks inside, passes back out. Johnson with time. Van Koughnett there to meet him defensively. That works off.
Warriors are having trouble with a little bit of a zone here, a 2-3 zone. They will match the players when they go to the high and low post positions.
Cross-court pass. Johnston in trouble and bails back out. Inside here as Fisher wheels and deals, and off the glass. Is it going to go in? No, sir, but McCauley's got the rebound, and the point guard comes in. Good hustle on the offensive glass, and it pays off. VanLoon assessed the foul.
The out official, Greenwood, called the foul. The inofficial, inside official, Foxcroft, called a jump ball. And, of course, the foul stands from the outside official. Greenwood, this is his first year at the university level within the OUAA from Windsor. Looks like a good one. It's interesting that the Warriors are in that zone, that matchup zone or 2-3. They started with their tough man-to-man, and now they've gone to a zone.
From the baseline and hitting for two is Fisher. His fourth point of the afternoon. 25-24. Bishops trails by one. Waterloo, of course, with the lead and the basketball.
David Fisher showed a little bit of perimeter personality. He's a banger. Came outside, got the 10-foot, Jason.
Nice touch. Of course, head coach Eddie Palmacala raving about his ability. Not just a banger, and following up was Rosebush. The crowd is into this ball game, and it's always fun to come to Waterloo. A defensive battle so far in the first half. All indications point toward another great second half. The winner of this game will advance to the semifinals. Of course, we'll have the championship contest for you again as well next Saturday.
Of course, they have a great matchup in the semifinals, and that's between St. Avex and the Guelph Griffins.
Back to the rim. Rebound is Poag. Jason Poag drives inside, has some room, dishes off, and barely got it back to Van Koughnett, who takes the shot and hits nothing but net.
Now, he's a freshman. He's a rookie, Van Koughnett, and he's not afraid to shoot. And Coach McRae, there is no question, has given this young man the green light to shoot at any time.
6 feet 7 inches tall, perimeter precision as well. He has 7 points. And Bishop's head coach Eddie Palmacala calls a timeout. Has to address this situation. His team had come back to lead the game by 1. Suddenly trailed by 3.
Well, he could get caught in a lot of M&Ms, and that's the mismatches defensively, like who's going to come outside. Van Koughnett is so quick on the perimeter. He's going to have to bring a small forward out on him.
Let's take a look at Van Koughnett. You talk about a soft touch here for the big fella.
Watch the wrist and the fingers at the end. Followed through right to the rim. All net. No rim.
Mike Kilpatrick talking with head coach Don McRae.
You know, it's interesting talking to Coach McRae before the game. He was telling me that they have to find themselves and they really haven't got into roles yet. And I saw a little twinkle in the eye, boy. And I know why it was there when this young man has played very well. But the problem with the freshman is one night he'll get you 22 points, and the next night he could only get you 8 or 10 points, depending on how well he plays. But he looks like a good one. He's a keeper.
Moments ago, look at all the abuse heaped upon the Bishop's bench, traditionally, which always happens here at the Waterloo Activities Complex. The fans getting on the opposing team and head coach, and Palmer points in this game for the home court Warriors. 2 minutes, 26 seconds to play in the first half.
They were 15-3 in conference play last year, so they're going to have to go some to get that record, especially you mentioned earlier against the Concordia Stingers. Great concentration and focus inside. He got fouled, and he keeps control of the basketball. Watch, nice dump down low. Tiblin's on the blocks. He goes up, double pumps, follows through, gets fouled off the glass for 2, and go to the foul line to complete the 3 points.
Pierre Tiblin, the only player in this contest so far to reach double figures. He has 10. An opportunity here to make it 11.
Well, why he's an all-star and why he scored so many points in his career, as you said at the start, he's a swing player. He can play a forward or he can play a guard.
Tiblin 80% from the free throw line last season. It's on his lone opportunity, or third opportunity of this ball game, hitting 100% in this afternoon's contest. It is tied up at 27. And Tiblin with 11 points. John Hamilton contest. 3 so far in this contest. Back out to Poag.
And with Ward out of there, they're playing just a one-guard system, a little bit of a 1-2-2. They've got their big line up there. Hamilton's playing the off guard.
Van Koughnett inside. May have met contact as he put that ball up. Rebound comes back down to the Bishop's Gators, and Jeff Harris leaves it there for Mark McCauley. 1:35 left on the clock.
You hate to compare players, Paul, but you know Van Koughnett, who he looks like, who I think he plays like so far as a freshman here, and that was that great player, Mike Mosier. He really looks like Mike Mosier in the moves he can make. He can go inside or outside. He's got that slim body, but that great leaping ability.
The late Mike Mosier, a legendary figure here on the Waterloo campus, former All-Canadian back in the early 70s. 1 minute and 11 seconds left on the clock, tied up at 27. And some great players on this campus. Sean Van Koughnett, perhaps one of the great ones of the future. Rob Freese, Peter Savage, Randy Norris. It goes on and on.
It sure does. Mike Visser.
Oh,
he's the one that beat me once right here in the corner in the last shot of the game.
The other end of that bench, Mike Kilpatrick. He, of course, was at Laurier, I guess then Waterloo Lutheran, when they last won a CIAU basketball championship with Bob Bain and crew in the early 70s.
If this place could only talk, there's a lot of memories in this building. And in coming into the building, I was noticing some signs there. They're having a referendum with the students on building in the new phys ed complex and rec center.
29-27, the Bishop Gators back out in front for only the second time in this contest. Clock ticking down.
Certainly has been a perimeter show for the Warriors versus the paint performance.
Rosebush inside, off the glass. Nice play as he drove the baseline. 7 points for David Rosebush here in the first half.
Controlling things on the blocks. And again, a straight 2-3 match zone by the Warriors.
18 seconds left on the shot clock. 38 seconds left in regulation here approaching halftime. From the perimeter and for 3. Ted Branch. 7 points in this game so far off the bench.
Against that zone, if you get it in the core, the heart of the zone collapses, and then you kick it outside for the easy deuce on the perimeter.
So the Waterloo Warriors contend here to play for the final basket. 13 seconds left on the shot clock. 12 and change. Down to the final 10 seconds of this ball game. The crowd onto their feet. 6 seconds. Poag in traffic. He's going to have to put it up. Will he get a chance? He's going to come short.
Great defense by McCauley on the point guard, Jason Poag, to prevent 2 at the buzzer.
Well, a tremendous first half of CIAU basketball here at the University of Waterloo. Quarterfinal action. And the Waterloo Warriors trailing by 3 points. The Bishop Gators in front 32-29. We invite you to stick around for our halftime show. You're watching our University Game of the Week.
Absolutely. They might have to double team him, but they can't let him get in sync.
Well, speaking of sync, we think that the McMaster Marauders are going to be a very entertaining basketball team this year. It's been 4 years since they've been to Halifax representing the OUAA. Could this be their year? In a moment, we'll profile Barry Phillips' McMaster Marauders as our halftime show continues. Stay with us. Game high with 11 points. Jeff Harris and Ted Branch 5 points each. And from the Waterloo Warriors, the rookie Sean Van Koughnett was 7. Mike Duarte and Chris Moore with 6 points each as well for the Warriors. On the glass, we've got class as well in Tiblin with 4, 2 apiece for Harris and Branch. And from Waterloo, the big man Dave Rosebush with 3, Sean Van Koughnett with 2, and Chris Moore, the second-year sophomore from Barrie, with 2 as well. The score is 32-29 Bishops at halftime. We'll be back with our second half in just a moment. Warrior band, tough to beat, and so too our home court Warriors. However, the Bishop Gators in front by 3, 32-29. For the Bishop's Gators, their 7th or 6th trip rather to the Naismith Classic, and their best finish was in 1987, where they finished runner-up in the consolation event. So they're hoping to make amends for that and perhaps advance to the championship round. And when we take a look at the schedule, they are in fact on the weaker side of the draw.
And it doesn't get any easier if they get by into the final, because I feel one of the teams in the final this year will either be the Guelph Griffins or St. Yves.
And we, of course, will have the championship game for you next Saturday here on Channel 11.
You talk about that fine band, though. A lot of coaches coming in to this complex feel that the band is the sixth player defensively, because they can really upset your play on the floor. And of course, in the timeouts, you can't hear yourself.
Well, the fans get onto their feet as the Warriors step back out onto the court. Waterloo with possession to start it off here in the second half. The Gators go on the defensive. And when we see on their feet, I mean everyone is on their feet. Here we go, play just underway.
Straight tough man-to-man by the Gators to open the second half.
Poag inside to Rosebush. His pass. Lively shot into the flat, picked out of the sky by Tiblin. Tiblin drops it back here for Mark McCauley.
1-4 low on the blocks, trying to get it inside and establish the power game.
Nice
Two
move.
off the glass.
Daniel Matho, his first hoop of this afternoon's ball game. 6'5", 208 pounds, a third-year player from Laval, Quebec.
Putting a little bit more height and strength underneath for the Gators to start the second half.
Perimeter shot goes off the rim, saved. Gators have it, ball goes back out of bounds, and it should be Bishop's possession, and is.
And Koughnett can't put the air ball up early here in the second half. He must be patient. Shot selection for the young rookie is extremely important.
Mike Duarte. 6 points in the first half for Waterloo. Back out to Poag, who has a pair. Plenty of motion here in the second half, but traveling is a call against the Waterloo guard. He'll turn it over.
Too many steps on the penetration, trying to draw the defensive man, and then dish, of course, to the inside player, Rosebush, on the blocks.
Capacity crowd on their feet. Will not sit down until the Waterloo Warriors open up with a basket.
The Gators now have to establish a floor game, a better floor game, and get more people involved. Good hustle and desire.
Daniel Matho has trouble, almost loses it. Van Koughnett, extremely persistent, almost paid off. And it's going to be Waterloo basketball. It has paid off. Watch here as Mike Duarte lost the ball. And watch this. Matho takes his eye off it for a moment. And Van Koughnett, the pesky rookie.
Great quickness. In the game of sport, quickness is so important. And, of course, when you're 6'5", playing the game, or 6'6", you have the quick feet.
Van Koughnett down the sideline to Rosebush and back to Van Koughnett. Jason Poag bounce pass to Duarte. Duarte inside, nicely done to Rosebush off the glass. Battles for his own rebound.
Rosebush plays well with his back to the basket. He gets the ball on the blocks and he turns and he takes a dribble. He's got to get himself a little closer so that he can eliminate the dribble and use the power move to the hoop without the dribble.
John Hamilton, 3 fouls in this ball game here for Waterloo. He is on the bench. That is Rosebush's first. He steps off. Chris Moore comes into the game here for Waterloo. Pierre Tiblin. Back outside to Matho. Long jumper is good, and that is for 3. Give it to Ted Branch, his second trifecta here of the ball game. And 10 points. Double figures, the second on the Gators to do so. Tiblin has 11.
The Gators are in sync. Great floor balance, distributing the ball very well, and getting everybody involved in the offense.
We mentioned veteran leadership needed on this team from Waterloo, and Jason Poag, perhaps the man called upon to provide that, came through in the clutch. Nice wheel and deal and put it up and drew the foul.
Well, there's no question in Jason Poag's role. I mean, he has to take the leadership. He's got to set the table and make sure everybody's in the right position, gets the floor balance, and then gets the team going.
Converts on the three-point play, 37-32, and Poag has 5 points in this ball game. Long pass, intended for Branch, goes out of bounds. He'll have to hustle back and assume the defensive role. Waterloo with the ball.
Again, you don't want to make errors to let the other team back into the basketball game. The Gators off to a quick start here in the second half, but they're letting the Warriors claw back into it.
Score was 32-29 at the half for Bishops, and Duarte hits. 2-point play just inside the 3-point line. Duarte's first field goal of the second half. He has 8 points on the game.
Duarte from St. Thomas More in Hamilton plays the off guard very well. Again, Tiblin gets inside. Mr. Insider outside.
Tiblin, 13 points. 39-34 Bishops, and back we go coast to coast. Duarte has 10. Little run and gun here to open up the second half. The fans love it.
A lot of points in transition.
Off the foot of McCauley, a 2-on-1. Poag has help from Duarte if he wants it. Little collision as Poag went in toward the hoop. And a foul assessed to Mark McCauley.
What's interesting, Paul, two major rule changes. The main change this year is on the 10th foul, you get an automatic 2 shots, either half.
Interesting foul as well, or rather when it takes place on a 3-point shot that doesn't go in. Tell us about that.
If you attempt a 3-point shot and it doesn't go in your foul, you get 3 from the charity stripe. Very interesting. I like that rule. That's a great rule.
Duarte in the paint, off the glass. Who's got the rebound? It comes down to the Bishop Skaters. Tim Johnston with his paws wrapped around it. In possession to Waterloo, so the gamble pays off. Duarte with aggressive play, and the Warriors get it back.
Aggressive, but very active. And anytime your off guard is that aggressive on offense and defense, you know you're going to get the other team players in sync and moving towards the hoop.
Van Koughnett inside. Ted Branch. 10 points in this ball game. Assessed the foul, second-year player from Bathurst, New Brunswick. Economics major.
The Gators will have to challenge the jump shot, especially from the perimeter when Van Koughnett is shooting.
Chris Moore drives inside. Loses it, and the veteran in his 5th year, Pierre Tiblin. The bottom of that pile comes up with the ball, and the Gators get it back.
Their top scorer, the All-Star. When your top player in the All-Star shows a lot of desire and hustle and hits the floor for the loose balls, that's leadership.
Came to the Bishop Skaters 5 years ago from Vanier College. And will be counted upon if the Gators are to upset the apple cart, perhaps defy the odds and defeat the Concordia Stingers. But you know, you talk about Concordia, they didn't lose anybody from last year's team, and they get a couple of great players back in Dexter John, a point guard who was with the team 2 years ago, and an All-Canadian in the community college ranks in Emerson Thomas. Played his CCAA ball with Vanier College in the Montreal area. This is Tiblin, watched by Van Koughnett, back inside the give and go off the glass. Rebound is inhaled. It comes down to Branch. And Branch will go to the line to shoot 2.
Ted Branch just picking up the garbage on the weak side board, being aware where the basketball is. Now watch, it goes to the weak side. He tries to power it in. That's the super sub coming off the bench. Scores in double figures, and a good perimeter shooter.
The Waterloo Warriors have called a timeout. We'll take one as well. They trail by 3 in the Naismith Basketball Classic. You're watching the Physical Activities Complex Naismith Basketball Classic at the University of Waterloo. And it is nail-biting time. 39-36 Bishops in a tight defensive duel. Still plenty of time, however, in the second half. And all part of the fanfare here at the University of Waterloo. And we'd like to think, probably, along with the University of Guelph, the best basketball fans, at least from an OUAA West perspective.
And of course, the program at McMaster, they're trying to build their program from the fan standpoint, trying to get some more fans out. Bill Malley doing a nice job there.
Bill Malley, the sports information director, has done a tremendous job. 16 minutes, 35 seconds to play in regulation. Bishops with a 3-point lead and make it 4. Ted Branch with 11 in this game.
Ted Branch is a doer. He's a provider. Coming off the bench, gives you quality time in a supportive role. Now he goes out for a rest. 12
points, and Wes, a clutch player when it comes to the big games. Twice scored 13 points against Concordia last year. One of those included a big win at Lennoxville to defeat the Stingers.
Well, that's what a provider does. He comes in, gives you quality time, not only from a defensive point of view, but if he can get those points, very important.
This, of course, exhibition basketball, all leading up to the CIAU Final 8 in Halifax in mid-March. We look forward, of course, the week before that, the Wilson Cup, and conceivably we could see a rematch of what happened last year with Concordia taking on Guelph. That game would take place in the Guelph Gymnasium. If you thought it was packed in Concordia and Montreal last March, Wes, we got something coming for us if, in fact, we do head back to Guelph.
But what a great game. That came down into the overtime. And, you know, I still have that, and I replay it, and there was an offensive charge on that last play, and it should have been called, and it wasn't. But what a game, and great fans down there in Montreal.
John Hamilton into the contest here for Waterloo. He has to be careful. 3 personal fouls.
The coach McRae plays 9. He plays 9. 9 have to contribute within the team concept.
Poag dishes off to Thomas, off the glass. The basket will count, and he'll go to the line to shoot for 3.
Jason Poag, point guard, great vision to the weak side, on the blocks, off the glass for 2. When your point guard has got that great vision and can hit the open player underneath the hoop, that's what you need from the point guard.
So a pair of 33s collide. Cam Thomas and that man, David Fisher. Fisher, 4 points, all coming in the first half, and a second-year player, as we mentioned, from West Humber Collegiate in Toronto. Rebound comes down to Macaulay. In the right place at the right time, and he'll bring it back up court.
You see, with Macaulay at the point guard, that lets Tiblin roam a little bit, and he can play a post exchange or a weak side forward.
Jason Poag's been all over the court in this afternoon's contest. Back out to Van Koughnett. Nice move. Buys himself some more time. John Hamilton, and out to Poag. You know, Poag might be a little stockier this year, but he hasn't lost any quickness.
Not at all.
Van Koughnet's rebound is inhaled by Pierre Tiblin.
Tiblin's a mission man, though. He's on a mission. He wants to lead this team. He wants a big win here in the Naismith in the first round.
The Gators with a couple of 5-year men in their lineup. Something the Waterloo Warriors cannot afford to have this year. Majority of their players in first, second, and third year. As Wes mentioned at the top of our program, lost a plethora of veterans, namely Andrew Zenchuk, Chris Troyak, Ron Braley, Pat Telford, John Billoway, and we have to mention Lance Lockhart as well.
Well, so far the Warriors this year, they go outside and then inside. Last year with Braley, the wide body, I thought their every look was inside, and then the third look was outside.
Poag, back of the rim. Tipped out of bounds. It is going to be Bishop's basketball. Hamilton, with some help from Cam Thomas, knocked it in behind the opposition area.
But when we get later in the season, the first look might be to Van Koughnett all the time. Quite a player as a freshman.
I got a new guy.
14 minutes, 47 seconds to play in regulation time. It is 41-38 for Bishop's Gators. So far, even Steven in the second half. The Gators led 32-29 after the first half of play. Method wanted to drive inside. Wisely elects to go back to the perimeter. Here's Fisher, the turnaround jump shot. Rebound comes out to Chris Moore.
Gators are not getting the stick-back points here in the third quarter.
Moore to Hamilton. Mike Duarte watched closely, but goes on the baseline. Up it goes. Who's got it? Rosebush had a chance to go up for the shot. Looked up before he really had the ball. It was knocked out of bounds. In a timeout called by the Bishop's Gators and head coach Eddie Pamacala. 7th year as head man on the bus for the Gators of Lennoxville, Quebec. Score is 41-38 Bishops. You're watching our university basketball game of the week. Boy Central and Eastern divisions last year. Steady Eddie. Former experience at McGill as well.
He's done a great job with these young men. Of course, he likes the half-court game. He's a very disciplined coach. He likes them to set up, take their time, and go for the high-percentage shot.
Doubles up as the sports information director for Bishop, so no shortage of talent. And Ed, we thank you for that. Inside, and the Gators bring it right back. Tim Johnston, 2 points. That came in the first half.
Here's a show-me 2-3 zone, trying to match up, plays it a little high, plays it high mid-post.
Cross-court pass, back out to Tiblin inside. Johnston, the intended receiver on the play, but intercepted. And John Hamilton drops it back for Jason Poag.
The Gators have handled a man-to-man a little better than they've handled that zone.
Poag to Duarte. To Rosebush, to Kevin Cohen, back out to the perimeter, and Ward has it.
He gets the crier. And if you don't challenge that jump shot at the perimeter, you've got to come out and put the pressure on the fellow that's shooting the jump shot. Mike Duarte.
And his 12th point of the ball game trims the Bishops' lead to 1, 41-40. 12 minutes, 55 seconds to play in the second half.
We've got a classic as far as the score is concerned. Offense hasn't been that great.
McCauley back outside, decides to dish in, and a little rejection time. I think Rosebush got a bit of rubber on the play. Here comes Poag. Passes out to Rosebush, collision off the glass, and has to. Waterloo back in front.
That's the power game from the wide body. Rosebush inside. They're going to have to seal and play in front.
Now, this brings to mind that game last year when the University of Manitoba was deadlocked in a similar contest. I wonder if Jason Poag's going to get a similar opportunity to win it with 4 seconds left.
Well, I don't know, but both teams are hanging around here trying to win this game at the end. Nobody's willing to put the other team away. Good inside move.
Yes, and a courageous effort by both sides.
But that's the quickness of Moore underneath. He's got the quickness of a forward and can go inside and block some shots. Rosebush is pushing and banging inside.
Rosebush working one-on-one on Matho. Matho gets help, and enough in time as Tim Johnston hauls down the defensive rebound. 42-41, Waterloo. 11 minutes, 38 seconds to play in the second half.
Tim Johnston's playing in the center of that zone. He played 3 positions last year, and he can play the post, but they have to take a look at him.
Cross-court pass. McCauley drives the baseline, puts it up off the back of the rim. Who's got the rebound? Hamilton manages to hang on.
The momentum is with the Warriors. The Gators have to be careful the next couple of trips down court. Mental errors, but they managed to get it back. Tremendous hustle from Mike Duarte. Second-year player from St. Thomas More and Hamilton. Off the glass, trying to get the hoop and draw the foul, but it backfires. Offensive charge. Just the second of this game for Duarte. There's Jason Poag barking out instructions, and as you mentioned, Wes, he is the on-court leader here for Waterloo. He has to be, and he's done a nice job so far. Now Baird is coming in at the point guard and giving Jason Poag a rest. This is very important with 11 minutes to go in the basketball game. Get your support players in. You make the decision now who's going to play the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game. You've got to get your big-time players around for prime time, rested now so they're ready to go.
Rosebush also steps off. He's replaced by Cam Thomas. One of several freshmen on this year's edition of the Waterloo Warriors for head coach Don McRae. Outside. Working back in to McCauley. Tiblin drives top of the paint. Front of the rim, rebound. And you've got to be impressed. Cam Thomas hauls down the defensive read. But Waterloo have done a great job down at their end of the court and getting that basketball back.
Well, they have, and they've switched their defenses at the right time. The zone gives them a little bit more defensive rebounding and sealing off so that the Gators do not get the second opportunity shot. Up by 3 with 10 to go. Well, Chris Moore follows up with the second opportunity, converts for 2. He has 6 points. Waterloo leads by 3. It's 44-41. But you're right, Wes. They have not allowed Bishops in the second half to take that second shot. No, and Tiblin's getting caught down on the baseline. 3 points. We're all tied at 44. That's that Ted Branch coming back. The trifecta will get you back into any basketball game. That's 3 trifectas for him. The big outside gun for the Bishops Gators has 15. Tiblin has 13. Now here's where they change their look without Rosebush. You see, they don't have the person on the blocks. Nice job by Baird. Finds Thomas inside. Cam Thomas, 6'5". He's a freshman. He needs a little bit more experience, and Coach McRae is going to make another substitution right here, and he's going to rotate his players probably every 2 minutes here till we get to the 4-minute mark in this basketball game. Well, the foul goes to Ted Branch, and in fact, he branched out just a little too much, and Don McRae came face on as always. His team tied up here in a dogfight with the Bishop Gators. There's a key word we use in coaching, and that's chemistry. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the right chemistry on the floor and the players don't see each other and get along, then the talent isn't worth anything. What I'm seeing from the Warriors here, they've got good chemistry. They've got a good base to work from. And of course, the Gators, a little bit more experienced, rely a little bit more on a person like the all-star Tiblin.
The Bishop Gators, not to be confused with the Florida Gators. The Florida variety, of course, alligator talk, but the Bishops were going back a ways, and spats, what they used to wear in the shoes when you were going to University West.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you, you got the computer on again. The wealth of information. I didn't know that.
Well, you know who told me that was Wally Zatilny of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who played his university football at Bishops, and Wally's a wealth of information when it comes to his school at Lennoxville. 45-44, Waterloo. Jason Poag back into the contest here for the Warriors. Rosebush as well. Van Koughnett outside. Bruce VanLoon cross-court pass and overthrew it into the stands, and Robert Baird just not tall enough to get up and get that one.
Trying to set up a post exchange with VanLoon and, of course, Dave Rosebush.
8 minutes, 46 seconds to play in the second half. A one-point ball game. Waterloo. Foul inside along the baseline, and Gators will get a chance to shoot two and take the lead. Bruce VanLoon.
Jeff Harris posting up. Sorry, Paul. Jeff Harris posting up, gets the play on the blocks, and draws the foul. 84% foul shooter. If this comes down to crunch time, there's no question the Gators are a better foul shooting team.
A little rest for Mike Duarte. He replaces Rob Baird. Duarte with two personals. John Hamilton, the only Warrior in foul trouble with three. This has really been a cleanly played game despite the physical contact present, and there's been much of that.
It has. With the Waterloo Warriors, they've only had 3 team fouls in the second half. Anytime you play a team that's coached by Don McCray, you're not going to get to the bonus situation very many times.
Scott Ride comes into the contest now for Bishops, replacing Jeff Harris. 46-45 for the Gators. 8 minutes, 35 seconds to play.
Again, the Gators playing that straight man-to-man, trying to influence down the side.
Van Koughnett looks inside, but they've got to respect his outside shooting prowess. 7 points in this game so far, but all coming in the first half. Rosebush to Poag. Drives, he'll spin inside. Watched closely by Johnston. Here's Van Koughnett off the back of the rim. The rebound comes down to Bishops. Tim Johnston back up court for the Gators.
Gators again, half-court game, very disciplined, wants to set it up, try to get the right players in the right position against that 2-3 zone matchup.
Around the horn it comes. Mark McCauley, far side. VanLoon gives him the inside. It might have been too much.
You called it. He influenced down the baseline, but they didn't seal the baseline. Let him have a free trip to the basket. See, they give him the influence to the inside, but Rosebush doesn't come over to seal it off. That's a free trip.
Second personal for Dave Rosebush.
But the Gators have to learn, they have to dance to all the tunes, and the tunes here defensively for the Warriors are switching up from a man-to-man and to their 2-3 matching zone. They've got to be prepared to break both.
Mark McCauley led the Bishop Gators last season in field goal percentage. He was 63% from the floor and matches up quite well. 100% from the free throw line. Just his 4th point of the ball game, but it gives Gators a 48-45 lead. They lead by 3. Van Koughnett, the veteran Tiblin, watching him. A matchup of year 1 versus year 5.
That's the M&M. Great matchup. But look at Rosebush pushing and shoving against Fisher. That's another key matchup here late in this basketball game.
Here we go, and Fisher appeared to get the better of it, but picks up the foul. And as a result, going to the line will be Dave Rosebush. And for Fisher, his 3rd personal.
Fisher saying here, I got all leather, I got all leather. I didn't get him on the hand at all. Oh, he got him. He got him on the elbow. But the matchups in basketball are so important when you get down to crunch time. You've got to have the right players playing defensively on the right people. And of course, offensively, shot selection is important, making sure the players feel comfortable with their ability to shoot on the floor. You have to find your range late in the basketball game.
And Dave Rosebush heads into double figures with 10 points, makes it a 48-47 ball game. Bishop still in front. They have the basketball.
Straight man-to-man full court here. A little bit of pressure, no traps.
Mark McCauley. Daniel Mathot replaced Tim Johnston. Pass inside intended for Tiplin. Went off Sean Van Koughnett.
Great call by Foxcroft. Tiplin thought it went off the defensive man. He tried to pin his man and get over the hill pass.
You know, Stephen Foxcroft, a tremendous referee, but I was involved in a trivia contest that he does with Burlington Cable. And would you realize, the question was, what was Peter Maravich's collegiate average? And I think we said 44 points or 42 points, but it was 42.6, and he wouldn't give it to us.
Oh.
Out of the competition.
42.6 average per game. That's your average per year.
Steve Foxcroft, he could be a nice guy at times, but we realized there was another side to his personality when it comes to game time competition. Tremendous show he and his brother run in the Burlington area on Cablevision with help from Peter Moore. Collision at midcourt.
A collision, a little push and shove by Mike Duarte.
And at 6'5", 208 pounds, Daniel Mathot really went down hard. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, Duarte coming in with the shove.
A little bit of a hip. But again, it's the hustle and desire from the Warriors. Also from the Gators. Both teams, this game is extremely important. They'd like to advance here in the Naismith. But again, they're young teams, and they want to establish good habits early in the season.
Now, this is a Waterloo team as well, Wes, that really finished impressively last year. Upset McMaster to advance to the Final Four, the OUAA West, and at least for a half of basketball provided Western with tough opposition at Alumni Hall. There's the steal for Duarte. Passes back to Poag. Game play, and Poag wants that over again.
Well, that just goes to show me Mike Duarte's quite an athlete. He was involved in that little push and shove at center. They get the ball out. He comes right back, and he double teams here, and he steals it. He has the awareness to dish it to the weak side. Poag driving. Oh, and he just gets the crier, and it doesn't go in, and he'll go to the foul line. That could have broken the game with the Warriors going up one. Now he's got to do it from the line.
We had some fun a couple of seasons ago with an all-haircut team, Wes, and if we were to revive that, I'm sure Mike Duarte might be a candidate.
Well, there's basketball players that are very highly skilled, and a good comparison would be that young freshman, Van Koughnett. But then there's basketball players that are athletes playing the game of basketball. Mike Duarte is an athlete playing the game of basketball. He could play the game of football as well. There's your fly pattern.
And it is complete. Going to go in untouched and up for the layup. Ted Branch, 17 points. That is top so far in this afternoon's contest. 50-48 Bishops with 6 minutes to play in the game.
You don't give a team like Bishops a break. You don't give them the fly pattern on the full length for the easy deuce.
Rosebush off the glass, puts it up and in for two. We're tied at 50.
And we've got ourselves a game. Interior game versus the transitional game.
Tim Johnston with the ball game, double varsity athlete, basketball, also plays golf with the Bishops team. Ted Branch, nice layup or a correction, Tiplin for two.
Little shake and bake, good concentration, gets all net. But we talk about interior game versus transitional game. There's been very few break points. Everybody wants to get the ball inside.
Run it, done it. The scoreboard's alight. We're tied up at 52-52. 5 minutes and 16 seconds to play. And for Van Koughnett, his first field goal of the second half. And head coach McRae's got to feel comfortable about that. Rather plays.
But he contributes defensively as well. They're back in their man-to-man, tough man-to-man. Van Koughnett's on the all-star Tiplin.
Nice play inside, and Tim Johnston converts off the glass. 54-52 Bishops.
Tim Johnson late in the game is a scorer. He's a provider. He likes to go inside.
Van Koughnett still with the basketball.
Must be patient. Get everybody involved.
Mike Duarte, side pass inside to Rosebush, loses it. And the cagey Pierre Tiblin picked up the steal.
Cagey, sneaky, he was there.
Came out of the woodwork to bring it back, and Bishops with possession. And at this stage of the game, every possession is critical. 4 minutes and 16 seconds to play. 2-point contest, 54-52 Gators.
Leaders lead by example. And Pierre Tiblin is leading by example, stealing the ball defensively and then taking it to the board offensively. What a player.
First team OUAA East and Central Division All-Star last year, and the Gators, of course, will be pressing Pierre Tiblin for an All-Canadian berth in 1990-1991. Timeout has been called. We're going to take one as well. The Bishop Gators lead this contest by 2, 54-52. Quarterfinal action at the Naismith Classic. Your
man-to-man defense. They've got the Warriors out of sync.
Baseline jumper, and Van Koughnett hits.
What a freshman!
That's a three-pointer.
Comes outside in the last minute and puts a three-point play in to go up one. You talk about a freshman that's played so well defensively and offensively. Now watch this. Watch the form and the follow-through. The shoulders are directly to the hoop. All net. 3 points. Watch out.
Same spot Jason Poag beat Manitoba from last week, and the capacity crowd on their feet. They're having a ball. And we always have a ball.
They're having fun getting it done here in the stands. Great action on the floor, but look at the action in the stands. They love their Warriors here.
Score. 61-60, 41 seconds to play. Head coach Don McRae with some final minute instructions here to his Warriors.
But talk about the freshman looking at the hoop late in the game. He knew he had that ball labeled. Now he's got to talk about the defense they want to play for this last 45 seconds. That's the new clock, of course, too, Paul. It shows you the tenth of a second going into the last minute.
May need it today.
You sure do.
Well, Donnie just a slight bit grayer this year, and perhaps a slight bit grayer after today's ball game. 61-60, the Warriors lead.
And who do you think is going to handle this ball? Here's the zone by the Warriors. They're going to play a matchup zone.
You got to figure Pierre Tiblin is the man to take it in for the go-ahead points. Mark McCauley, however, with the ball at this time.
They're posting them up.
Tiblin inside, fadeaway jumper, and a Bishop's call for traveling.
They tried
turnover.
Sorry, Paul. They tried to post them inside in the hole of the zone, and the zone collapsed. They got a turnover on the travel, and now the Gators will have to come up court here, put their man-to-man full court pressure on, trying to get a trap. Here we go.
Van Koughnett in ball, inbounds the ball. Jason Poag. 24 seconds on the shot clock. You've got to expect Waterloo to utilize most of that. But however, when that clock comes down to the nitty-gritty, you've got to know that they've got to hit for the 2 points.
Have to make a decision soon if they're going to foul.
Good defense by Bishops, and it's coming the other way. The Gators get it back.
Again, trying to move the ball around the perimeter, trying to spread the defense.
Eddie Pomykala on his feet. 14 seconds left and counting. Here we go. The final possession of this afternoon's contest. It's going to come down to the wire.
No tie. They're going to win it or lose it.
5 seconds, 4 seconds. They're going to put it up. 4 seconds. Here we go. 2 and 1, and it's jump ball.
He passed up the shot. Jeff Harris from the outside passed up a 10-foot J. He should have shot it. Now watch, there's nobody around him. He passes it up for the dribble, tries to draw the foul. No foul, jump ball. Look at that young freshman's into the basketball game.
You know the leadership from Pierre Tiblin. He went right over to Harris and said, nice job, just to reassure him.
They're a close team. They know they're going to be in close ball games. Let's listen.
Rowdy and noisy bunch here at the Physical Athletics Complex, University of Waterloo. Making life miserable for this Bishops team.
Well, they've got to get a foul here pretty quickly. They're not in the on the 10th foul, so it should be just a 1-and-1.
Well, there's not going to be much time, and the clock will not tick down until the ball is put in play on the court. Officially, 1.2 seconds left on the clock. 61-60 Waterloo. The winner advances into the semifinal round against Bill Westlake's Winnipeg Westman.
And if we do get another jump ball, the arrow favors the Gators, so they would get possession. Coach McCray wants another timeout, double timeout here, just to get his young team organized. Going over their roles here. Who's going to inbound? Who's going to cut and break to the basket? What happens if they trap and get a double team? Who's coming to break the double team? Very important.
I realize the Waterloo Warriors are the home court team. Capacity crowd here favoring them. Extremely partisan, of course, but would you classify this an upset if Waterloo does advance to the semifinal round?
I would say going into this game, I picked Waterloo by about 5 points just because of the home court and the crowd. But if I knew the Gators were tough and I knew Tiblin could play the game, and Harris and Branch, Johnston, McCauley, very impressed with that super sub Ted Branch coming in. He's done a nice job scoring as well as rebounding and giving some leadership.
Recapping the scoring, Ted Branch and Pierre Tiblin, 17 points each to lead the Bishop Gators. As far as the Waterloo Warriors are concerned, and this is what you like to see if you're head coach McCray, and the scoring evenly spread out. Sean Van Koughnett, Mike Duarte, and Dave Rosebush all with 14 points apiece.
Well, the great thing about the scoring stat there, Paul, is that the Warriors have got 14 quality points inside the colors, in the paint. And of course, they've got a good 28 points around the perimeter. And that's good balance. That's tough to defense. You want to defense the inside interior game, or you're going to make them play on the perimeter.
There's the man we expect to get the basketball, Pierre Tiblin, number 22.
But in basketball, when your number's called, you've got to take the shot, and Jeff Harris's number was called last trip down the court, and he passed up the shot, trying to overpass, and now they're in their problems here.
1.2 seconds to go. Ball will start the clock off. Here we go. The perimeter shot from the baseline is overthrown, and the Waterloo Warriors advance to the semifinal round, defeating the Bishop Gators 61-60. A tremendous afternoon of basketball. Great job by head coach Don McCray, and the crowd on their feet. You've got to love it, Wes, and always tough to lose a basketball game of this caliber, but a well-played game by both the Warriors and, of course, the Bishop's Gators.
A tough loss for the Gators, but what a great win for the Warriors. They needed that early in the season. They're establishing themselves, and I think they're going to be ready for their league play in January.
Again, the final score, the Bishop's Gators losing a heartbreaker 61-60 to Waterloo in the Naismith Basketball Classic quarterfinal play. We'll be back with our player of the game in just a moment. Crowd in quarterfinal play at the Naismith Classic, winning by 1 over the upstart Bishop Gators. The final score is 61-60, and the winning hoop coming from our player of the game, freshman Sean Van Koughnett. Played his high school ball in town here, Bluevale Collegiate. First of all, congratulations. All sorts of pressure in a game like that, and as a freshman, I'd expect you to feel some of it. From an on-court perspective, how was it?
Well, I did have a lot of butterflies coming into the game because there's a lot of people I knew that were going to be watching, so the nervousness went away a bit, but then towards the end of the game, I got a bit nervous again because it was so close.
You're a big bonus to come to a campus like this, and this is really a team that could use help. They lost Ron Braley last year. You come in at 6 feet 7 inches tall and are going to provide them with some help inside, but you've really got the precision touch from the outside. Is this something you've always had?
I've worked on it a lot, and I guess it's just developed over the years. I've been playing guard a lot. I don't play inside much, so it's helped my outside touch to be outside.
Tell me about the transition from the high school ranks to the university ranks. Of course, you've only played a few games this season, but from what you've seen, how's the transition been?
It's a lot stronger and quicker game. I got used to it during the summer on the junior national team, so it wasn't as hard as an adjustment as it would be for other high school players.
Has head coach Don McCray put any extra pressure on you to perform a certain role in this team? What did he tell you on day 1 at training camp?
He told me that I'd be getting a lot of playing time and I'd have my ups and downs because I'm not that experienced in varsity play. But he said it'd be good for me to get a lot of experience.
Obviously, as a high schooler, I'm sure you've seen this basketball classic played on television and in person. What's it like to play and in front of a crowd like this? This has got to be the biggest crowd you've ever seen on court.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because I've been watching this tournament since I was about 10 years old, and to finally play, and it's just amazing. I can't describe it really.
Do you know some of the history about this school and some of the big names who've played here?
Yeah, I've watched for the last, well, since days of maybe Peter Savage. That's not too long ago, but Peter Savage and Rob Fries and Randy Norris and those guys. So I've been following Warriors basketball for a long time.
Great sense of history. You're an economics major, of course. Best of luck. Sean Van Koughnett, our player of the game, 14 points, including the winning three-pointer. All the best this year.
Thanks a lot.
Sean Van Koughnett. Now let's bring us over to Wes Hicks, a former basketball player and coach himself, and that was an impressive match. And you talk about the freshman. Now, he looked like a veteran in that game.
Blue chipper, he's a keeper. There's no question. He played so well, but he played well defensively, too. He took on the all-star from the Gators in Tiplin, and he did well there. But when crunch time came, he wanted the basketball. He wanted to shoot that prime-time shot.
Jason Poag didn't figure high as far as scoring was concerned. I believe 4 points, but he provided another role for the Warriors today.
I thought that was going to be a weakness with Poag playing the point guard and, of course, Mike Duarte playing the off guard. They've got a pair of guards there that can play in this league, and that's going to really augur well for the Warriors.
You know, each year the Waterloo Warriors always come up with a veteran or two. A couple of years ago was Tom Schneider, went on to an All-Canadian season. But Don McRae always seems to bring out the best in some of the players who a year ago might have been considered fringe because of their youth. Mike Duarte comes in, plays a key role. Rosebush, after a year off, comes off and plays well. 14 points for him as well.
He really played well on the blocks, but it's the system. It's the Don McRae system. It doesn't care who the players are from year to year. You have to play a system. If you play a system, you'll do well, especially if you play that tough man-to-man defense.
Well, we're looking forward to a great championship game. We might see the Waterloo Warriors, but they're going to have to defeat the Winnipeg Westmen to meet either St. Francis Xavier or the Guelph Griffins. Again, the Naismith Classic Championship right here on Channel 11 next week at 2 o'clock. Until then, I'm Paul Hendricks saying so long for Wes Hicks, and we'll see you back at Waterloo next Saturday.
John Steppel.